Hey ladies and gentlemen, Michael Sheena here, back with you once again. Today we've got the 2010 Acura TSX V6, and this is a very impressive little car, I gotta tell you. I wasn't expecting to be quite as wowed by it as I was, but here we are. As you can see, this TSX V6 model is very similar to the 4-cylinder edition, which, to be honest with you, is a good thing. Frankly, I don't like higher power models to always have a lot of scoops, wings, spoilers, and another nonsense that just draws attention to yourself and honestly really doesn't improve the look of the vehicle. This is a clean design. I think it really works well for Acura. I think it's its best looking sedan. It's nothing ostentatious, but it's a clean technical design, and I like it. When you look at the rear seat room, of course, this being on the smaller side, you aren't going to have as much, obviously, as a TL. But again, I think one of the reasons I was drawn to the sedan so much was the fact that it is a smaller, more compact design. We're going to just go ahead and take a really quick look at the trunk here, and then we're going to get out of the rain. But as you can see here, you got pretty good trunk room in there. So I was satisfied with the amount of space you get back there. Going through here again, just my typical things that I look for. You've got soft touch material here and here, which is all good to have. Sitting down in the car, it's a very monochromatic cabin. It's a technical piece. It's not light and airy in that it has a lot of different design tricks to it, like a lot of ambient lighting or anything like that. There certainly is a little bit of lighting up here, but when you look at some other sedans now on the market, they do have some of those features. This is, again, really more about the driving experience. Center stack, pretty well laid out. You got the navigation system up here. We'll get into that in a minute. Your usual controls down here. Of course, you got your 6-disc changer, although I don't know many people who bring a lot of CDs in the car anymore now that you can hook up your iPods and whatnot. But in any case, seat heaters, automatic transmission. You got your cup holders down here. Your traditional center console in here. Of course, you got your USB connection, power outlet, and also an auxiliary jack for audio in case you don't have a USB hookup on whatever you're bringing in. Looking at the steering wheel controls, pretty typical Acura stuff. Information controls here. Bluetooth phone controls along here. You've got your audio controls, cruise controls, and the paddle shifters, which, as I've mentioned before, not a big fan of on any car. I just don't use them. So over here, of course, you got your usual window controls, memory for the seats, mirrors, and whatnot. It's one of these things. They got some blanking panels down here that I'm not overly crazy about. And of course, your stability control you can turn off, and a little coin holder felt line so the coins don't rattle around. I do like the instrument panel up here. I think it's nicely done, and a little aluminum-like finish there along there looks good. I like that. Of course, when you fire this baby up, you will see the information, of course, in the center here. And just like on that previous RDX piece that I did, you can cycle through various stats. As I had mentioned before, I really love the fact that I can find out my tire pressures individually, and also that I can control how the car locks itself. For example, it locks when it goes into park, and I have it unlock all doors when I go back into park. It's something I like, but you can customize to whatever you want. If I had a minor gripe, this dash material it's not the prettiest looking stuff, but it's premium enough, I guess. It just kind of looks, I don't know, like packing materials, you know, the black finish, but it's not terrible. It looks just fine. It just struck me as a bit odd. Now, of course, this has got the tech package, so with it comes your usual good Acura navigation system, and of course now they're featuring such things as the weather. So we can go down here using the little scroll here. We go to weather information, weather forecast for the current position. We can see, of course, rain. Yeah, thanks. And the 3-day. Now you'll see data not available. I did notice that on occasion, but not that often. Most of the time it did have the weather available for me. So that was all good. But let's get down to what this car is about, folks. And this car is about driving. It is a phenomenal driving car. I have not had such a great time with an evaluator vehicle in a really long time. And the reason being is that this torquey V6, this 280 horsepower motor, really does a phenomenal job of transforming the sedan for me. I find the added power to be a welcome improvement over what was already a fine handling car. It does add a little bit more weight to the nose, but I don't bother. I'm not bothered by it. I don't feel that the understeer penalty is severe enough. It has a very good ride to it over the city streets. It doesn't beat me up, but on the second hand, it also doesn't wallow when I throw it into the corners. It sets itself up quite nicely. I'm able to zip and zoom through traffic and get around people with no problem at all. And I never feel, as I had mentioned before, with the styling of the car, that I'm calling attention to myself and that I look like some dude in a real jacked up car in terms of all the go fast parts that you see on some of these cars. So I feel very comfortable driving it. The seats are really good. A lot of good bolstering on these seats, and overall I give this car very high marks. It is a very capable performer in almost any task that you would give to a smaller sedan, and I encourage anyone who's in this market to give it a real good consideration. Now, obviously, going through the front wheel drive on this vehicle with that much horsepower, you would expect some torque steer. There is a little, but not much. It's nowhere near what you would expect. It's not ripping it out of your hands like on some older Saabs or the Nissan Maxima. It's pretty well controlled. Traction control, especially in this rainy weather, has been going bananas. And that I anticipate even in drier weather, if you really romp on the throttle, it's going to happen. But overall, I did not find the fact that this was a front-wheel drive vehicle to be a huge penalty. Just being a little bit more gentle on the throttle, and then once it gets going a little bit, nail it. It's no problem out on the freeway. You get it down into sport mode, and this thing is just zipping along. The car isn't perfect, as I had mentioned. There's some interior pieces. I would like a little bit better material here. The blinking panels kind of drive me nuts. There's also a rattle when I close the door. I don't know if you can hear it. You hear that rattle? It's up here in the headliner, and if I press on the headliner, it stops. So I'm thinking it's probably either an antenna cable or it's something to do with the light cable back there or something. But I really don't like rattles. But minor thing, obviously a dealer is going to be able to take care of it for you. When you look at the biggest negative on this car, and it's obvious this is the loaded model with the tech package, the price is $38,760. That's serious coin. I mean, let's be honest, the base TL with the same motor is going to run you, with the navigation package, I think only like $1,000 more. You're also in the Infiniti G35, a G37 category. You could get a lesser equipped BMW with a lot lesser power, or pony up for a very base 335. But that would be in the 40s for that. Again, the CTS, you could get a lesser equipped model or spend a few more bucks, but again, you wouldn't be getting the higher power motor anywhere near this price. The Hyundai Genesis, again, with the basic navigation, not the premium navigation, again, you could get in that same ballpark, but that's a much larger sedan and really not in the same category. if you can get past the fact of the front wheel drive, take this car for a spin. I think you're going to be rewarded. I highly recommend it. Give it a shot. You're gonna like the way this car drives. I'm not just trying to be Men's Warehouse here. I was really impressed with it, and it's gonna be one of my top picks of the year so far. Obviously we're in January, but I'm thinking this is gonna be one of my top picks.